Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to my May reading wrap up. This month I read the most I've read so far this year, but I do have to thank a few graphic novels for that. So in the month of May I read 14 books. There were 8 romances, 1 mystery, 1 fiction, 1 fantasy, 3 graphic novels, no DNFs, and also I didn't really have a TBR. This was all for videos and mood reading. With all that being said, let's get into all of the books I read this month, my ratings, my reviews. You will see if you look at my Goodreads if you ever keep up with me on there, which is always linked down below. I do put my rating sometimes, but I'll either put, if it's a 3.5, I'll make that in the review. As the month has gone on, I've changed my reviews for some of these books. So if you see a review on there that I put during the month of May and I say a different one now, it's just because I've thought more into it and some of the reviews for these books may be changed. And also if I put a review on Goodreads that's like 4 and the book is a 3.5, I'll say 3.5 here so you guys know the actual rating. It's just Goodreads is difficult when I'm rating a book because I like to get specific. But anyway, I'm gonna stop talking now. I'm gonna continue talking, but I'm gonna stop talking about that. Let's get into the books that I read in May. The first one I read is Love Interest by Claire Gilmore. This book feels like I read it months ago at this point. I actually listened to majority of this one. I kind of forget what it's about. I haven't really thought about it since. Our main character is going to her job. She interviewed for a different position and someone else gets the position, which is our other main character. They meet on an elevator and he has no idea that she was going for the position, and then I don't really know what happens after that. He's the board chairman's son, so she's like, of course he got the job. Oh yeah, okay. And then they're thrown together on the same project. They're doing like a YouTube type of thing together, kind of showing the day-to-day of 2 people in the workplace in New York City, so you're following along with them there. This book definitely felt like realistic. Like it felt like 2 people working in the city and their relationship stuff going on. Like it definitely felt realistic, but I just didn't connect to any of it. I wasn't very entertained throughout. I feel like it was a little bit more on the boring side for me at least, but I really liked her writing style, even though I just kind of contradicted myself and said that it felt boring. But I like the way that she set up the characters. I like the way that they interacted with each other and their conversations and how the relationship kind of progressed throughout the book. I just think the actual storyline of it wasn't for me. So I definitely want to read more of this author's books. This one specifically, I didn't love. I gave this one 3 stars, but it was still a good read. Like I would recommend it if you like workplace romances. You're gonna have to give me a few seconds to just apologize for how long it took me to start reading this series, guys. This is the best thing that's happened to me all year. I'm obsessed. If you couldn't tell from all my videos this month and me talking about it non-stop, I just want to thank Bestie Katie. If I didn't find her channel this year and binge literally all of her videos and see her talk about this series because she also started it, I just have her to thank for this whole entire thing. Shout out Bestie Katie. Shout out this book series. I only read the first 2. Also, this is Heartstopper by Alice Oseman, if you have not. Actually, I didn't say it yet, but this is a graphic novel series. I think the 6th one's coming out this year, but I read the first 3. I wanted to read all 5 that are out right now. I just have been holding myself back because I love them so much and I don't want it to end. But the first one I read in a video, I had my reactions to just starting it, and I didn't think I would love graphic novels. I just never really read them when I was younger. Maybe I read a few, but not anything recent, or they're not to the type of books that I reach out for. So that's the only reason I was hesitant with this and didn't want to read it. I didn't think graphic novels were for me. Boy, was I wrong. I love graphic novels. Well, this is the only graphic novels I've read, but when I'm reading books, I don't really picture a lot of things. Sometimes when a scene is going on, I can like vaguely picture what's going on, but I don't really ever picture a lot. So having the graphics with what they were saying and kind of portraying how they're feeling on their faces and all the scenes, like visually seeing it, was just so amazing. If you don't know what Heartstopper is about, I should have started with that. It's about Nick and Charlie, and they both go to an all-boys school. Charlie is openly gay. Nick is a rugby player. He's the athlete of the whole school, and him and Charlie strike up this friendship, and then you see it kind of grow into more, but it's just the way that that happens and the way that they're hanging out and like just being shy about it is just, it's so heartwarming. It is so cute, but it also touches on different topics that I didn't expect that are kind of more deeper and emotional, which I loved and appreciated so much. I'm obsessed with Nick and Charlie. Like they are my entire life right now. I also started watching the show. So there's a show on Netflix that came from this series and I'm obsessed. I did give all these books 4 stars just because I don't know how to rate graphic novels. I don't read them. So I'll probably end up giving the whole series 5 stars as a whole, but in general, each book I've given 4 stars so far. My favorite, I think, is the first one. I think just because it was so unexpected how much I loved it, but I think the second one is, I don't know, I love them all. They're all just so good. I can't wait to continue reading them. So yeah, this was the highlight of my month for sure. Then I read Nora Goes Off Script by Annabelle Monaghan. This book was so good. It's also pretty short. It's under 300 pages, so if you're looking for a fast-paced summer read, this is perfect. Our main character Nora screenwrites for kind of like Hallmark movies, romancy, cute, cheesy movies, and then she's divorced. She's a single parent of 2 kids, and she writes a script for the story of her divorce basically, and it's actually picked up by a Hollywood filmmaking place, whatever they called. It's picked up by Hollywood. So whole film crew, the two main co-stars, they're like A-list celebrities, come to her property to film this for the weekend, and then the main actor, he ends up staying back. Nora lets him stay with her for a week, but as he's staying there, the two of them are spending more time together. But I love how it starts like very platonically, like he just needs some space and he just wants to stay there for a little bit, but then he slowly grows to it and they grow on each other. It takes a different direction than what I expected for a small town Hollywood star coming in to like this single mother. Like I feel like there's a formula for that in my head of how I thought the book was gonna go, and it went a totally different way, which I appreciated so much and I loved so much. I loved the two characters separately and together. I loved how they acted with each other and with the children in the story, and the scenes that they were in were just so good. And it's again so fast-paced. I gave this one 4.75. I think if it was like a little bit longer, I would have probably given it 5 stars. We had more with the characters and the storyline, but I will say for it being the length that it was, she included the most perfect scenes that needed to be in this book. Like there was nothing dragged out, you were just going from scene to scene, everything just mixed together, it all made sense, and it was like she picked the perfect plot points to include in this book for it to just make sense, and I loved it. Highly recommend this one, especially for the summer. Then I read Golden Girl by Elin Hilderbrand, my first Ellen book of the summer. Well, it's not summer yet, but my first Ellen book of the year. This one is a very interesting storyline. It's about our main character. Well, it's told in all different point of views of each character in the story in third person, but the main one that it kind of centers around is Vivi, and she is the mother of a few kids. She lives on Nantucket. She's a romance author, kind of like Ellen. She writes Nantucket novels, and she's like very well known for that, but she goes on a run one morning, she's hit by a car, and now she goes to the Beyond, and while she's there she has this other character that we follow, Martha, that kind of like watches over her, and she gives Vivi 3 nudges, so she's allowed to watch over her kids, over everything that's going on, and she's allowed to nudge anyone or anything that's happening in the direction she thinks it should go. So you kind of follow her point of view watching over everyone, but you also get everyone that's still there, her kids, her ex-husband, like all of these different characters on Nantucket and involved in the story and what they're going through. And it's so interesting the way that it plays out, because it kind of plays out as if it's one of her Nantucket novels, like the tea that you're getting and the different relationships intersecting and the drama between all the people. Like Ellen definitely always puts in like family tea, relationship tea, like you're just getting all the drama, and I eat it up every single time. I did give this one 3.5 stars though. It's not my favorite Elin Hilderbrand book. I think this one was kind of slow in some parts, and I honestly didn't love Vivi's point of view when we were getting her backstory and how she came to Nantucket and meeting her husband, all that stuff. I just didn't really connect with it. I didn't love it. I feel like it was kind of drawn out in the way that it was described, like a lot of description, but the storyline was really fun to go along. I loved following along these characters and seeing what they were going to do next and what was really happening and what she was going to nudge and everything, but I didn't connect to any of them. I wasn't really invested in any of them. I just think it was an entertaining story. I also listened to some of this one, so highly recommend the audiobook. It's definitely entertaining to listen to what everyone's doing in here. Then I read Hello Stranger by Catherine Center. I actually think I also listened to majority of this one because I started it and I couldn't get into it, so I was like, you know what, I'll just audio this, and that actually helped a lot. This one is about our main character who's an artist, and she's kind of working paycheck to paycheck, but she doesn't have a good relationship with her father, and she kind of tells him that she's fine and everything's good with like her money and everything, and something happens to her where she has an accident and she ends up having facial blindness. That's one thing that I really liked about this book, is that it showed someone with facial blindness and how it affects them day to day, especially being an artist, and like that's your main job, is something visually seeing self-portraits and making self-portraits of people. So that was definitely an interesting storyline. I just think other than that, I did not connect or enjoy anything that was going on. Like I don't even remember the actual plot of this book other than the facial blindness. I don't remember the characters that were in here. I know there was like some romance going on, something with the stepmom. Like I don't remember anything. I think I'm gonna put my rating at this a 2.5. It was a 3, but I just genuinely could not tell you anything that happens in this book other than that fact. Not my favorite read, but yeah, that's all I really had to say on that one. Then I read Today, Tonight, Tomorrow by Rachel Lynn Solomon. This book is actually a YA rivals to lovers story, which I love rivals to lovers. I feel like I don't read too many rivals to lovers books, but I really like that trope. I think it's so fun seeing them just like get so worked up in like the academic field and like trying to outsmart each other. And that's what our two main characters in here throughout the whole 4 years of high school have done. They have tried to work against each other and just try to be the best at school, you know, trying to win valedictorian and get better grades and everything like that. So they have that history of the 4 years doing that, and now it's the last day of high school. They're gonna see who's winning valedictorian, and then every year the seniors play a game, kind of like assassin times scavenger. So they go around the city as a scavenger hunt, but they also have different classmates' names that they have to get out, and whoever wins, I forget what they win, but they win something. So it's the last day. Our main character is feeling very nostalgic. She's spent every day obviously going to school, doing the same routine, and she's just like having this almost crisis of school ending and like not fighting with him every day and not being with her friends every day, and everything's gonna change, which that's a part that I kind of related to. It's just like you're in high school all these years doing the same thing with the same people for so long, and then you're graduating, and then all of a sudden like so much is changing at once. So I kind of felt nostalgic reading that in her point of view. This book takes place in one whole day, so you just get them from like morning 5 a.m. getting ready for school, the school day, and then the different hour time slots of the game that they're playing. But Rowan and Neil end up teaming up during the game, so that's when they spend a lot of their time together. I gave this one 3 stars. I really enjoyed, again, the rivals to lovers, the nostalgic feel of high school. It definitely felt more of a realistic take on it. I feel like a lot of YA books can get cheesy, you know, they feel kind of quirky in their characters, but this one felt almost realistic in the age that they are and what they're going through. But the only thing is it takes place in one day, like 24 hours of a day, and that's how long we see them connecting and their relationship and switching over from like rivals to lovers, you know. So that was kind of quick for me. I wish we had more time with them, but that was like the whole point of the book, is like we're spending the scavenger and the assassins game together. But I liked the two together. I thought it was fun. I liked the storyline and the plot that it was. And there's a second one that's coming out, I think this year, which I definitely want to read. It's like them after graduating, which again, I feel like it was like not a lot of closure, so I'm excited that there's a second one coming out. I did really enjoy this one. It was definitely really cute. Then I read Heartless Hunter. This one I actually recently saw Bestie Rachel read, and that's why I wanted to read it, and then I've been seeing it a lot recently, so I downloaded that one onto my Kindle, and it's a fantasy novel. It's basically, if you've read Serpent and Dove, same kind of things going on in there. It's a witch hunter and a witch. That's not a trope. That's just like the plot is like our main character is a witch, and she is part of this group, the Heartless Hunters, that no, the Crimson Moth? Yeah, Crimson Moth I think is the name of it, that goes after the witch hunters and tries to get rid of them. And then you have our other main character who is a witch hunter, and she's the witch. So you have this huge enemies to lovers, like there's no way they can be together. This book, when I tell you it was so fast paced, I read this in a day. I read this whole book in a day. I gave this 4.5 stars. It was so entertaining. The enemies to lovers were eating. All of the plot points were just like so good. Pacing of it was perfect. Like no scenes were dragged out. It was always just on to the next thing, and everything that was happening was entertaining. All the side characters like really made the story, and I loved our 2 main characters. I cannot wait for the next one. It's coming out next year. I wish it wasn't coming out next year, but it was so fun to read. So if you're looking for a fast-paced fantasy with that enemies to lovers, this is your book. Then I actually read another book on my Kindle. I read Forget Me Not by Julie Soto. This one is a romance novel. I actually really was excited about this one because it has the setting and a lot of scenes involving the wedding field. And I love reading about weddings. I don't know if it's because I'm a hopeless romantic, but I just eat up anytime our main characters are at a wedding in a book. So our male main character is a florist and our female main character is a wedding planner. They dated a few years ago, or I don't really remember, back in the day they dated, and then it's present timeline and they're put on the same wedding together. So he's gonna be the florist, she's gonna plan the wedding of an influencer. You get dual point of view and you see the past timeline of them meeting, how they met, how they became a couple, and like their past relationship and what happened, and then obviously present timeline them working together. I gave this one 3 stars. I didn't really love the way their relationship was back in the day. Like it didn't really make sense to me. I don't think that they should have been together. I don't know what it was. Like he was mean. It felt like borderline, like I don't want to use the word toxic because it wasn't a toxic relationship. I just don't think they would have worked out well in the long run. Personally, present day, I feel like there was no chemistry between them. It was just like saying, oh, we used to date and this is kind of awkward, us working together on this wedding. But it wasn't like, oh, we can't be together in the same room because there's so much tension. It wasn't like that. It just felt like, yeah, they used to date and now unfortunately they have to work together. I think they're great co-workers though. They knocked that wedding out of the park and I loved reading about the wedding. I usually would have not enjoyed how much the wedding took over the book and there wasn't a lot of romance, but I didn't even enjoy the romance. I loved the wedding. I thought it was so fun. The people that they were doing the wedding for were fun. I loved that scene, that part of the book, that plot point, and I loved her planning the wedding from ground up. It was so fun. Him being the florist, that was so fun. But personally, I just didn't like him as a character. I thought he was mean. I liked her as a character though. I forgot their names, but our female main character, really enjoyed her. Really loved being her point of view. She was funny. Really liked her. Them together, I just didn't love. But I really liked the writing style. I love the wedding. So this author actually has a book coming out this year. I think soon. I think over the summer she has a book coming out. So I definitely want to read it. I liked her writing. I just didn't love these characters together in this one. Then I read Love and Gelato by Jenna Evans Welch. I read a novel by her before. What's that witch book that I read in October? Reading her name, I just realized I've read a book by her before, and I really enjoyed that one. So anyway, I just had a little bit of an epiphany. Is that what that? Wrong word choice. Anyway, I read Love and Gelato. This is a interconnected trilogy about this, well, this one at least is about our main character whose mother passes away and she doesn't really know her father. She's really close with her mom, and her mom tells her like, you need to go stay with your dad, you need to go like meet your dad and whatever, but her dad lives in Italy. So she takes a flight over there, she's staying with him, she's learning about her mother's relationship with her father and like how they met and everything through her mom's journal that she has. I love the setting of this book. It was so fun being in Italy and her going through her mom's journal and going to the same places her mom went, and you kind of see her mom's history with Italy, like her first time going there, her meeting our main character's dad and everything like that. I give this one 3 stars. It was really fun to go along. I again loved the setting of Italy and also her meeting different people that lived there and making friends there and going along this journey of figuring out what happened between her mom and her dad, and just like seeing through her mom's point of view what happened there and her kind of realizing stuff. It was really, really fun. This also I think is a movie. I haven't read it yet, but I haven't watched it yet, but I definitely want to read the other ones in here. These are perfect YA summer, or at least this one's a perfect YA summer read to just binge. Very fast paced, and yeah, I'm excited to read the other ones in here because I think it takes place in Ireland and Greece, which is very fun. Same Time Next Summer by Annabelle Monaghan, the same author as Nora Goes Off Script. I was so excited to read this because I loved that book. This one's also under 300 pages. She has just the perfect bingeable summer books. Like if you want to sit on a beach for the day, you can probably pick this up and finish it in a day and you'll just feel summery. Okay, anyway, this is a second chance romance. Our main character is engaged to be married and she grew up on Long Island Beach, so her parents still live there in like the present day. She's older, but you get the past timeline of when she was younger, going there every summer and spending her summers there and the people next door. And she actually met Wyatt when she was really, really young, and they ended up spending every summer together, texting each other when they weren't there and then spending again the summer when they went back. And you see their relationship progress like every few chapters in the past timeline and them falling in love when they were teenagers. Present timeline, she comes back to her parents' house on Long Island. She sees Wyatt, who is the one she fell in love with when she was younger. He is back there, he's grown up, and she hasn't seen him in a while since something happened back in the day. And I gave this book 3.5 stars. The only thing that I had with this is that the fact that she is engaged, and it's not like her engagement is like something horrible. I mean, the explanation of it and what's going on, it's like, okay, maybe this doesn't feel right, but just something about it was like, I don't know. But you get a lot of the past timeline, her and Wyatt and their relationship, and seeing a lot of them. They're like the forefront of this, and I feel like sometimes it felt almost like a YA book because we're getting a lot of them as like 16-year-olds when they were younger falling in love, and then the present timeline wasn't as much. But I did enjoy it. I love her writing style. I loved the past timeline of them falling in love because just something about a summer romance when you're a teenager, like reading about it, is just like I love it. So I really enjoyed that. I enjoyed our characters. There was just like some of it that I didn't love, but again, fast paced, really good writing, perfect summer read. Then I read This Summer Will Be Different by Carly Fortune. This is her new release. This is about Lucy, who goes to Prince Edward Island one year. This is 5 years ago from present day. She's meeting her best friend there at her best friend's house, and when she gets there, her best friend is late. So she goes to this bar, she meets this guy, she spends the night with him, she wakes up and she realizes that's her best friend's brother. They had no idea who each other were, so that's an issue because her best friend's #1 rule was don't fall in love with my brother. Then you fast forward present day, her best friend is getting married and she invited her brother and Lucy back to Prince Edward Island to spend some time with her. Now you have Lucy and the brother in these close quarters together again, and the tension is literally palpable. You can feel it off of the page. The chemistry and the tension is just like incredible from the start. So that's something that I really enjoyed about this one. I give this one 3.5 stars. This one took me a while to read. I don't know if it was a me problem, but it just felt really slow paced. I did love the setting of it. It was so summery, and like the places on Prince Edward Island that she was describing was just like giving all the summer vibes. So I loved that so much. You also kind of get flashbacks throughout the 5 years of when Lucy and our other main character, what's his name, Felix, saw each other and like what happened between them throughout these years to present day. So I enjoyed that, but a lot of it felt physical, so it took a while for me to connect with them and understand them as a couple on the emotional level, but I ended up really enjoying them. I loved their connection and what was going on with their relationship, and of course the tension was just like crazy. And then I liked the little side plot of like the best friend and female relationships, and this was pretty big and I enjoyed it. I think it was just a little slow paced for me, and I wish we had more actual conversations between Lucy and Felix. I feel like not a lot of talking between them was going on, but there was like little things they were doing to show that they cared for each other. It was just like not a lot of like talking to each other, not a lot of dialogue was happening, but it was a good read. I really enjoyed this, especially as a summer read, of course. The last book I read in the month of May was Darling Girls by Sally Hepworth. This is a mystery thriller novel. It's about these 3 girls who grew up in the same foster home together, and now it's present day. It's like 20-ish years later. They get a call from a detective and they tell the girls that they need to come back to where they grew up in the foster home because they have discovered something by the house and they're starting an investigation on it. So the girls kind of have to rehash what happened while they were there. So you get past and present timelines in this one, and past shows these 3 girls coming to the foster home, how they got there, why they got there, their relationship with each other, and their relationship with the foster mother, which I would definitely check up trigger warnings for this one. It goes into a lot of depth and description and a lot of scenes in the past timeline of them being in the foster home, a lot of history there, and then it kind of like shows how they became who they are in the present day, and then the present day is more like the mystery of what they found by the foster home and what's going on. I gave this one 4 stars. It definitely had me on the edge of my seat. I was so curious to know like what's going on and what's gonna happen. It was very vague, but throughout like the past and the present flip-flopping timelines, more stuff is revealed, and I was like, okay, this is making me question more things. Like I said, there's a lot of history that is thrown in here between the 3 girls. I think it took a little long to get to the actual point of the mystery and what was going on because of so much history, but I also think that that gave a lot to the characters because I feel like in mystery books, you don't really connect to main characters, you don't really feel anything for them, you're kind of focused on the mystery. But this one, it showed so much of the girls growing up and them in present day, how strong their relationship still is, that you kind of feel for them too. So it had like that element with it. The writing style was so good. I really enjoyed the writing of it. Again, I just think it was like a little bit too much backstory going on for like what the point of the mystery was, but it was really good. Really liked this one. So here are all the books that I read in the month of May. Let me know if you've read any of these books, any of your thoughts on them, and that is all for me. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know if you did, and I will see you hopefully in the next one. Bye!